All right, I'd like to explore some of the modified commands found on this panel under the home. Okay, and the ones we're going to look at are going to be the trim, extend, the fillet and the chamfer, and mirror and offset. So these are probably the top modified commands, other than obviously erase, move, and copy, which we'll talk again about that. So let's look at the first couple here. They're kind of the trim and the extend. So I'm just going to draw some lines on here and how we can use these. Okay. So for this one, all right, let's look at the first one, trim. So you can use and click here. All right. Or the preferred way is TR for trim. And then it's looking for basically what you want to remove. Okay, now pay attention to what gets removed. Okay, so if I click on this line, it removes the segment that is bisected by both these lines. Okay, so if I want to get rid of these two lines here, I have to click here and here. Okay, with the way this is operating. Okay, now so I just click here and that goes. Okay, but undo. If I want to use this as my trim and get rid of all this, we're gonna have to just a little different. We go TR, and then you'll notice again we can do our drop down arrow, or we can look in our command line. Cutting edge is the one I want to look at. So I go TR. I can do my drop down and choose cutting edge. Okay, so now I'm going to select something that will be that cutting edge, that proverbial knife or scissors. So I select that, and then when I select that, notice what happens now. Everything that this encounters is cleaved and trimmed off. So a kind of a nice little feature there. Okay, now the other one that we have here is the extend command. So these are the yin and yang, so to speak, on these. Okay, so let's just erase these. All right, so let's say I've got a line like this, and then I've got a line here, and I'll do a line here as well. All right, so if I'm using the extend command, all right, or in this case the shortcut method is EX. Okay, now again, works similarly to how the trim command was done, where if I want to extend it all the way back to here, I've got to click this and then click again, okay, to do it. So two operations. Or I can do, again, the TR, and then again, you can look at these options here. Actually, EX. I can select boundary edge. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Or drop down, and you can select bounding edge here, and that just means I just select what I want to be basically the backstop of this, and right click, and extends all the way through. So two different ways you can use that. And again, that's the trim and extend, which are very useful. The other one, we have worked with this for a little bit, and that's the fillet command. And that basically puts a radius between two lines, okay? And if we launch it, again, we can come up here, click on this, or just type in F for fillet. And what it's asking us to do is to just select the object. But before we do that, let's pay attention to this down here. And we're gonna really look at just the three options that I want to explore here. The first one is always we have to set the radius, because a radius of 0 just means a straight edge. There's no curve there. So I want to type in R for radius, and then I'm going to give this fillet a radius of say 1, and then I'm going to come in here and click it, and there it is. It created that radius. Okay, I'm going to undo that. And then I want to look at the other options there. All right, let's do that. Fill it again. Now it's gonna say keep my radius of 1. Okay. And then let's look at the trim here. So if I click this, it gives me an option. Do I want to have it trim? That's the default, so it's on, or no trim. Okay, now we saw what happened when the trim was on. It got rid of it, and all that was left was 2 lines and a arc. So let's do the no trim option. And what the no trim option does is that it does not remove any of the line and just puts a nice arch in there that is tangent to those 2 lines and at the desired radius. Sometimes that's desirable, okay? And that will be the default setting on there, so you got to kind of specify that in the future. So I got to undo that, or it'll keep doing it that way. So I'll do fillet, go down and go trim, and then I turn trim back on to get back into that mode. Okay, the other one that's kind of nice to have is the multiple. Okay, and that's if you know you're going to do multiple things. It's kind of nice. So I'd do fillet, and then I'd choose multiple so that I can keep going with it, and just click and click. So I can keep clicking and doing multiple ones, so you don't have to hit the space bar and go back into that. One other thing I want to bring up about the fillet command is, let's look at this. They don't have to actually meet, okay, to do it. So in this option, if I did the fillet, it will make it work. It can also work the same way if the lines cross each other. So if I got lines crossing, it'll trim this excess back. You just want to pick on the side that you want to keep. So here we go. I do this, and it keeps that. So kind of a nice option with that. Okay, the last 2 commands under modify that I want to explore are the mirror and the offset command. Okay, so the shortcut for mirror is MI, and the offset command is O. Okay, so let's look at the mirror command. So let's say I've got a rectangle here. I'm just going to draw a quick little rectangle. And I don't know, I'll draw 2 rectangles. Say I want to create a mirror copy of this. Okay, and I want to make it over here, because a lot of our designs that we have are symmetrical. So whenever you're looking at a drawing and you say symmetry, why not draw it one time and mirror it? So let's talk about the mirror command. The mirror command, if we click over it and we look at what this does, it creates a mirror copy of it. So here's one of a ping pong paddle. Why would you draw it like that? I'm not sure, but if you just mirror it, you only have to draw the one side. So let's create a line that will represent our mirror line. Okay, so I want to draw a line straight down. So we have done this in the past. We can click here, and then I could just give it an arbitrary distance. I could tab it over and set it to 90. Or let's look at our drawing aids down here. Another one you can use is ortho mode, or F8. I click on that, and you can only draw in a restricted mode of along those 2 axes, X and Y. So that's kind of a nice feature. All right, so I'm just going to click that, and that's here, or type in F8. Okay. Now, so I got this line representing my mirror line. So that's the mirror. It's going to put a copy of this on this side here. So MI to launch. The first thing it's going to ask me for is to select what I want to mirror. So I'm going to select these 2 objects. And then it wants a spot on this mirror line. Okay, so I'm going to use my O snaps like we did before. Okay, and you'll notice in this part I have the endpoints I want to make sure is on. Okay, so let's do that again. So I've got endpoints active for that. So I do MI, select again what I want to mirror, and I'm going to select this point on my mirror, and I'm going to select that point as well. And it gives me options. Do you want to erase, so it would erase this or not? And I'm going to say no. And there it is. It made copies, and they're the same distance away from this line, but they're just mirror copies. Okay, so very useful when we're doing designs that are symmetrical. All right, the other command we want to use, and let me erase these, is going to be the offset. The offset is a very useful command, okay? And let's hover over this. So it creates a copy of lines or rectangles or other polygons or circles or any number of things. And what it does is it creates a line that is parallel and copied over. So thicknesses of walls are great. So let's see it in play. So again, to launch it, I type in O. And what it's asking initially is, how far do you want this to be offset for the copy? In this case, I'm going to choose 1. And then it says, okay, I'm going to make a copy that is 1 unit over from this. And so look how it does for this line. I'm going to click on the line itself, and then it wants to know what side do I want to put it on. I can put it on this side, and there we go. So it's kind of a neat feature. Now, let's look at how the rectangle is going to do. So again, offset. I'm going to choose the same distance. I'm going to turn my snaps off because sometimes that's difficult. I'm going to click on the object itself. I set it in, and there it is. Or select it and go outside. And what it does is this distance from here to here is exactly 1 unit. Okay, so it increased it by that amount. Very useful for that. It also works very well with circles. Okay, so if I offset, it creates a mirror copy of it. Offset in and reduces the radius, in this case, by 1, or I could increase it. So very useful command, especially with shapes. Okay, again, you can also see how that might take place if I had a polyline and you did the offset command, creates that copy. Okay, very, very useful feature you'll find in your drawings to use both the mirror and the offset, especially in conjunction with our other ones, the offsets, the ortho, and other drawing aids.